Hello everyone and welcome to the Bayesian Musings podcast. I'm your host Vishnu. Today's episode is with my good friend Giuliana, who is an intensivist in Switzerland. I met Giuliana whilst working with her at Monash Medical Centre in 2021, which was her first job in Australia. She had just completed her specialist training in Switzerland and had come over for some warm weather and was welcome with the Melbourne lockdowns. Now, this was recorded in 2022 after a long period of not having recorded anything for the podcast, and I felt the need to dust off the equipment and try and get back into it. So, although my aim was to talk to trainees from other specialties, talking to an overseas trained intensivist posed such a great opportunity to learn from such a different perspective and a different training pathway. And it was fascinating hearing about Giuliana's journey, the challenges she overcame, and how they made her more resilient. I hope you enjoy the episode as much as I enjoyed speaking with her.
Perfect.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
Yeah.
You should not be nervous. I'm nervous.
Yeah, but this is what put me off for 2 years as well from doing this. Was like, I thought about it, and like, why would anyone want to listen to a podcast that I'm doing? Because I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. And like, why would anyone want to, like, because I'm putting myself out there with this as well, right? So
True.
All the podcasts I listen to, people sound really intelligent. The people that are running it, and they ask intelligent questions, and I'm like, here I am asking dumb questions. Like, so where did you grow up?
Yes, but the podcast you're listening to, it's not their first. Their first 50 podcasts.
Yeah.
They've done heaps and heaps and heaps of podcasts.
Yeah.
And they get better and better.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast not too long ago where the guy goes like, oh, well, if you want to like hear more about this and that, just go to my podcast number 13. And he was like, yeah, there's a lot of things that I did weirdly back then. Just don't pay attention to that. It was he was saying he has evolved a lot in but just by doing. I think you don't get, but that's the thing, like you don't get better at anything without doing it.
This is true. I don't like that fact. I like to be good at things when I start, you know. First art line I ever did, I got it in. I was like, yep, this is why I should do ICU. Because I can put art lines in. Little did I know that ICU wasn't just about procedures.
So much more than just procedures.
Yeah.
If you had known.
Yeah. Well, actually, it got better with age, I think.
Yeah.
One of the consultants this year said to me, you know, because I asked him if I could do like an organ donation conversation.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done the course yet, because here there's a course that you're supposed to do beforehand.
Yeah.
I hadn't done that yet, and I felt bad for not having done it. But he was like, yeah, he was still happy for me to do it. And afterwards, he was saying, like, you know, he's at your stage, you might be thinking, you know, intubations or lines and things is what's exciting about ICU. But for me, this is what excites me more, because I feel like you get one shot at doing this well with the family. Like, if you put them off, you've put them off, and you've lost that chance to bring up donation. Yeah. So it's really important and crucial, and it can be done in so many different ways, and that's why he enjoys it. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And I think that's what I've started to enjoy a bit more as well of ICU, is the conversation and the family stuff. Like you were talking about that, you know, patient walking out, ultimately it's about the patients.
Yeah. And this is something that fascinates me about, or that I think is fascinating about ICU as well, is you can accompany patients and their families at the end of life, and you can have a big impact on how they perceive things, how they go through things, how they accept things. And I think we don't realize how high the morbidity is of a bad end of life experience for the families that in the end have to live with that for the rest of their lives, about how their loved ones died. And it is so powerful, and it's something that can be so beautiful to accompany people on their path, and can be quite rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though it's like very, very sad, and Yeah, but it can be. I see a lot of beauty in it, and I really like it when you like get to connect with the families and being able to. Yeah.
Yeah. I did pal care for 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's kind of that aspect of
Yep.
it. Like it's,
Yep.
you'd think that the specialty where all of your patients die, 100% mortality would be sad, but it's actually like joyful. And
It is.
you sit there, talk to a patient, crack jokes with them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you start to fear death less. I think as a more junior ICU reg, like death always terrified me. Is like a patient dying was bad in some ways, or I was always terrified of it. But it's made me look at death in a different way, and I think I was saying this to someone recently. Like, it's different. Like pal care, you get 6 months where you know you're going to die, and you're trying to, you're focusing just on that. You accepted death, and now it's about doing what you want to what's important in that time. Yeah. Whereas ICU, it comes as a shock, and it feels a bit more violent in some ways because it's sudden, unexpected in some people. Mm-hmm. And then you have to try and make that as meaningful as possible in that short amount of time, which makes it a lot more challenging. Mm-hmm. But also interesting, I guess, in that aspect.
To give them quality of life within their limits, like within the possibilities you have for that patient.
Yeah.
If you have like 6 months, you're gonna die in 6 months. Yeah. It's much more time you have to create that quality and to give the patient that quality. The quality in ICU in a dying patient is just different, I guess.
Yeah. Hoping that you can get family to visit them at least and they don't die alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a start.
Yeah. So that's like the most, or probably the most, how to say, like this pandemic, I think the worst for me during this pandemic working in an ICU is to not be able to have families at the bedside.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that I've seen dying lonely and alone is so big. And I remember all their faces. And it really hit me. It made me really, really sad. Like, you can accept a lot of things, or you have to learn to accept a lot of things when you work in ICU, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that this part is missing, this part of explaining to families what their loved ones is going through, right, at the bedside. Yeah. Even in medical professions, other doctors, they don't really understand what we're doing in ICU. Yeah. And so for the general population or the normal people or not doctors, it's even harder to understand what is ICU and what does that mean to have mechanical ventilation, to not breathe by yourself. So I think it's really that was really the hardest part for me of the pandemic, to not have families at bedside, to not have families being able to accompany their loved ones. Especially
with all like the anti-vax stuff and everything that was happening, it just kind of highlighted, like, ultimately, if you've got a family member in hospital, you're trusting whoever you're talking to on the phone, who you don't know who that is, that they're doing the right thing. When you can't see a family member, you don't see them for weeks unless they're about to die, and then you've had 2 weeks of treatment that you don't know, you're trusting what's happened. Like, that would be awful, really, especially if you're already on a skeptical side of healthcare as it is. Yeah. That would be terrifying, I think. Even, like, I think for me, ultimately, I think you just have to have some degree of faith that the system's doing the right thing, but it's still difficult to not see someone who's that sick and see what's happening, see them on a daily basis and understand. And then 2 weeks later, you're just hearing that they're dying now all of a sudden, when you haven't seen that process each day that we see. It's
absolutely
terrifying.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, for me, patients in ICU are between life and death. They're not really alive most of the times. They're not really dead. So they're somewhere in between. and it's our job. It's our job to accompany the families on that path towards either life or death, and it's impossible if they can't come in. You need to see it, you need to smell it, you need to touch it. Like you need all your senses in order to be able to understand what really is going on and to accept what is going on.
And again, in this, like, I guess a lot of the time in ICU, you might be seeing patients that have had a lot of health issues, and at least you can kind of understand that. But, you know, with this, you're seeing young people that are fit and healthy otherwise, and being this sick, that makes it even less connected for them as well. It's like it's harder to understand. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. This isn't following the pro forma that I had planned out, but that's okay. I'll cut it in and put it in with the rest of it.
Yeah, okay.
No, I think it flows better this way. Except with the cat jumping on me and the air conditioning. It's just good background noise. It's great.
I'm not sure if you can hear the background noise of the aircon.
Hopefully not.
I don't know.
I'm not very good at editing yet either, like with the software. Because there's supposed to be like noise cancelling way, like you can get rid of background noise.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to pay someone to do it, but I don't want to. I'm cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
Let's introduce the guest for today. So, I'm not gonna say your surname because I'll probably mess it up. This is Giuliana. Hello, Giuliana.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
No worries. My pleasure. My honor, really. I'm honored to be working with a consultant, essentially. I mean, talking with a consultant. Capaldo?
Yes, correct.
Okay, good. Giuliana Capaldo. We started working together last year when you came to Monash from Switzerland. Beautiful country, which has 5 regions, 5 languages, I think.
4.
4.
Yeah.
I thought there was 5. I thought you told me there were 5. 5 regions?
No.
Okay, just 4. Never mind.
4 languages, 4 national languages. Yeah. The German-speaking part being the biggest part, and then the French-speaking part, the Italian part, and the Romansh part is really, really small. There's not many people that speak the 4th language anymore.
Who came to Australia to have a bit of a holiday after working in a COVID ICU in Switzerland for 2 years, and entered the country into Victoria, and a week later realised she was going to be in a harder lockdown than she'd ever been.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So that didn't go as planned.
No. We basically came out of lockdown in Switzerland 1 month before I left to Australia, and then I went into hotel quarantine. The day I arrived in Australia, there were like 0 COVID cases, and by the end of my 2 weeks of hotel quarantine, Melbourne was entering the 5th lockdown.
It never ended for you.
It never ended for me.
Yeah.
So then, not only the lockdown, but then again, I started working at Monash, and then a couple of weeks in, we had to open a COVID ICU. So, and that's what I've been through in Switzerland twice before, because I worked during the pandemic in Switzerland. I worked at 2 different hospitals. So I've already gone through this with opening up a new ICU, organizing COVID patients, and
So much for that holiday.
Yes.
The warm country of Australia welcomes you into lockdown.
Well, it was an adventure, or it still is an adventure.
Yeah. At least you can travel again now.
Yes.
Seen a bit more of the country.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. There's so many things to see. And
I think you've seen more of it than I have. And I've lived here most of my life.
Well, I try. I love to travel. Like, that was also one of the reasons why I wanted to work abroad for a year or 2. Yeah. Really was to see something else, get immersed into a new culture, a new healthcare system. Like, we have this amazing job that you can practice wherever in the world, as long as there are people.
Well, you've told me that I can't work in Switzerland because I don't speak any of the languages, so maybe not anywhere.
Well, yeah.
You probably could with your multilingual skills. It gives you more range.
Yeah, depending on which country you need other qualifications. You can't just send it out like this. But yeah. No, but that was always, like, it's been my dream for about 10 years to go abroad and practice medicine somewhere else.
Yeah.
I always thought about the US, and then in the end I headed up in Australia, in lockdown Australia. Lockdown Melbourne, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking about it more in the last few years as well, about working abroad, especially after last year, talking to some of the consultants who've worked overseas and just the experience that it gives. I think Australia's so small and the number of cases that you see is so little, I think.
Oh, that's what I say about Switzerland.
Yeah, but I mean, there's 20 million people. It's tiny compared to, like, UK, US, anywhere else, Canada even. Like, you get such bigger numbers in the centres that I think it would give you a different perspective in some ways. But also, like you said, the other aspects of organisational differences, different healthcare systems, models.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the specialty you're doing. I know that for ICU, I would have had, like, knowledge-wise or patient exposure-wise, probably, Switzerland would have been fine. Like, it was not for being a better doctor knowledge-wise. It was more general aspects, being a better doctor, because I have seen how things are organized abroad, and I have seen how I react under different sorts of stress. Yeah. So it's but I think knowledge-wise probably would have been the same if I had stayed in Switzerland and done all my training just in Switzerland and never went abroad. Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard to say, like, because it's so much more. Being a doctor is so much more than just knowledge. Yeah, as about physiology and pathophysiology. Yeah. So yeah,
especially in ICU, isn't it? Yeah, I guess
absolutely.
What was it like growing up in Switzerland?
Oh, it was great. So I was born in the German-speaking part of Switzerland. Grew up in the German-speaking part of Switzerland as well. Did all my primary school and high school in the same little town between Zurich and Lucerne, which is called Zug. And I have an older brother, and there is a lot of options for kids in Switzerland. So I did a lot of things outside of school. So I went to violin classes, piano classes, singing classes. Did a lot of theater, the play, camps, school camps, but also theater camps. Then, because my father is Italian, I also went to the Italian school after the Swiss school. Yeah. There's just a lot of options. So my brother did a lot of sports. I was not that much into sports, but there's a big offer for different kinds of sports as well. So
what language did you speak at the school?
At Swiss school, I spoke German. Okay. Yeah.
Is the Italian school like a weekend thing, or was it?
Yeah, sort of. So that was an offer for kids of Italian immigrants. So you get the Italian high school degree as well, in case you want to go back to Italy. Right. Okay. Yeah. So that's then after Swiss school. Like, was at the beginning it was one afternoon a week, and then it was like 2 evenings a week that you just learn about the Italian specific or Italy specific stuff, like Italian literature, Italian history, Italian geographics, that kind of things. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. How many languages do you speak? At least 3.
5, 6.
What? Okay, so English, German, Italian.
So yeah, my main three languages are German, Italian, French.
Okay.
And then I learned English.
Yeah.
I learned Russian.
Why?
And I learned Spanish, which I didn't learn it properly.
Yeah.
But with speaking Italian and French, Spanish is really, really easy to understand and learn. And I had Spanish roommates, and then you just
Why Russian?
take it as go. Last year of high school, I wanted to learn a language that had another writing.
Right.
And then I started learning Russian, and I really, really liked it. So I continued to learn Russian at university and went to Russia to become proficient at speaking Russian.
Yeah.
And I was 2 months in St. Petersburg in Russia.
When you say another writing, as in, is the script not in...
Yeah, the script, sorry.
Is different?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's Cyrillic. I don't know how you say it in English. And it's a Cyrillic alphabet. So you can't, it's not the...
Oh, that's right. With the... Yeah, right. It looks at... Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. All the... Yeah, anyway. I won't be racist. I'll cut that out for sure. Otherwise I'll get hacked. There, I said it. Oh, God.
You say script letters.
Yeah,
the writing.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what you... Because
Yeah.
I would have thought like the origin of Russian would be different to like the Germanic.
Yeah.
But Italian would be different anyway, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? Italian and Spanish, I'm assuming, would be more similar.
Latin languages, yeah.
Okay.
So French, Italian, and Spanish.
I like
They're kind of close, yeah. Very close.
What's German's origin? Is it just Germanic? Right,
I think so, yeah.
Interesting. So it doesn't have roots in Latin?
I think I can't answer that question properly.
That's all right.
Well, there are obviously
I'm
words.
disappointed that you don't have a linguistics degree as well, Giuliana.
I'm so sorry. I always wanted a linguistic degree when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I really wanted to become a writer and linguistic person, but it didn't happen.
Interesting. Why did you want to do that?
I love to write. I wrote stories all the time. Like I have books full of just stories that I invented, that I wrote about all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved reading. I loved writing. Loved to spend my time at the library just to go through all the books and yeah.
And how did that get you into medicine?
Oh yeah. I want to know that too. Yeah.
You read the wrong books in the library.
Oh, I definitely read the wrong books in the library because nothing to do with medicine. I didn't have a clue. Like I think it was until the 5th years of high school that I didn't even realize that if you study medicine you become a doctor. I didn't like it was just nothing I was interested in. I was interested in all other sorts of things.
Yeah.
And the reason why I got into medicine is it's actually a funny story. It's a bit, I don't know how you say, superstitious? No, it's not superstitious. It's super normal.
Okay. This is why you don't have the linguistics degree, is that right?
No, the reason why the reason why I went into medicine was linked to very personal experience that sounds a bit like a fairy tale, but that's how I remember it, and that's how it happened. So during last year of high school, there are days where the students can go and visit the different universities. And at those open days, you get to listen, or they present all sorts of different studies you can do at the university and how everything is structured and organized and what it looks like. So I remember that our whole class went to this first open university day in Zurich. And I was listening to all sorts of things. So I went to the presentation of Russian, but also educational sciences, other social sciences, economics, all sorts of things, because I was like a variety of things interested me. History of art, whatever. And then at the end of the day, there was the presentation for the studies of medicine for med school. And one of my friends from school, she wanted to go and have a listen to the presentation of medicine, of the studies of medicine. And I was like, yeah, well, I'll come with you. I'm not tired yet. I don't want to go home yet. Let's go and do that. And I can't tell you why or what happened when they were presenting the what the studies look like or what med school looks like. It was very, very technical, like you do 2 years of basic science and then blah blah. But the way they presented it, it was, I don't know, with all of their heart, or very genuine. And all of a sudden, I had butterflies in my stomach.
They hooked you in.
It was a moment. It was really a special moment, and I knew that's what I got to do.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really some sort of vacation. And I remember I came home that day and told my mom that I wanted to go to med school.
Yeah.
And she was... I almost dropped off high school, like fell out of high school. How do you say?
Dropped out?
Yeah, I almost dropped out of high school because of the science, because I was such a bad high school student for all the sciences, like chemistry, physics, math, biology. Like I was really, really bad. So my mom looks at me and goes like, what?
Yeah, I was going to say all the things that you listened to initially were all artsy.
Yeah, exactly. No, nothing to do with anything scientific.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, no, you're not studying medicine. You're not going into medicine. And she took me to like a couple of counselors.
Something's wrong with my daughter.
And I was like, no, we have to find out what you really need to do and what do you really... and then she was always like, don't tell them you want to study medicine. They have to find out by themselves if it's really what you're supposed to do. Well, yeah.
Interesting.
She couldn't change my mind. And here we are. How many years later?
Yeah, I don't
15.
want to count.
15 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Interesting. Well, did your friend end up doing medicine as well?
No. She did psychology.
Right. Well, that's close at least. It would be funny if she went into like arts after all that. Just switch places.
Yeah.
How was med school for you then, if you didn't want to do it initially? Well, as in, you, I guess, having not thought about it until you got there.
Yeah. So the first year was really hard. I had no scientific understanding of anything. So we had physics, chemistry, even anatomy, biochemistry, all those things.
The wonderful subjects. Oh, God.
It was, I was really, really missing that scientific understanding. It was... So in Switzerland, the way it's organized, there are 5 different med schools in the whole country of Switzerland. And there's 2 universities where you can study medicine in the French-speaking part and 3 in the German-speaking part. For the university in the French-speaking part, there is no entry test. Yeah. So everybody that wants to go into medicine or wants to study medicine can start.
Right.
Independent of their grades. And in high school, independent of whatever. Yeah. If you want to do medicine there, you can just start. But then after the first year, they do the selection. And so from 500 or over 500 students that start at a university in Lausanne when I started there. It was about 120, 130 students that passed the first year.
Of the, how many is it? 500?
500,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So their way of selecting the students is just with exams after 1 year.
Yeah.
In the German-speaking part, there is an entry test. So once you have you passed the entry test, you have a safe spot, and you just have to know the normal things and to pass your exams normally, and then you can continue your studies. But in the French-speaking part, it's really, you have to have, like, for one exam, I remember we had to be 95% of correct answers
Oh my God.
to, like, pass the exam.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, very competitive. Very, very competitive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I decided to start med school in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, so no entry test. And so the first year was very competitive. I was struggling a lot with my lack of scientific knowledge. And also it was in another language. It was all in French. And I had a good knowledge of French, but not at a level where I was able to do science like chemistry and biochemistry in French.
Yeah.
Like, no way. So there's my first year of med school was really, really challenging. I didn't pass it. So then I decided to take the entry test for a German-speaking university and then restart again.
Yeah.
So
And is that entry test also science-based, or?
It's kind of a IQ test. There is some science-related questions that you have to read a scientific text and then to answer questions about that text.
Yeah.
So you need to have, like, a little bit of scientific understanding. But because I had already done 1 year of med school at that point, even though I didn't pass the exams, that really helped.
Yeah.
That really helped. But then there were other just logical questions.
Yeah.
That didn't have anything to do with scientific knowledge. Yeah.
That's similar to here when I got in. So that part of your high school marks counted, and then there was something called the UMAT.
Okay.
I don't know if that still exists anymore or not, but there was 3 sections. One was science-based, like you get a paragraph and then you have to answer a question. The second was like emotion stuff, like you read a passage and you kind of the questions would be like, in this sentence, what do you think this word is trying to convey? I'm like, I have no idea. Like that one I usually did really badly on because it was like a English test in the sense that, like it's what does this word mean, but in a different context, and like I don't know, I found that really difficult.
Okay. Interesting.
And then the third was just shapes, just like spatial awareness stuff. I did great at that one.
That was one exam question, or one part of the entry exam was like that as well.
Yeah.
Spatial.
Yeah.
Space.
I like that one. Pattern recognition. I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's similar.
So then you went to the German uni?
Yeah, basically I went to a bilingual uni after that.
Right.
So we had it was really bilingual. So every professor was allowed to choose if he's going to have his class in German or in French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that closer to home as well then?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
That was a 2.5-hour train ride from home.
Okay, not that close.
Yeah, no, I lived where I studied. And then I did my bachelor's degree there, and then they didn't offer a master's in medicine, so I then went to Bern to the German-speaking university for the last 3 years of med school.
So is it MBBS that you have, or is it MD?
MD.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first few years is just basic sciences, as in like a science degree, is it? Or is it still part of medicine?
It's still part of medicine.
Okay. But you graduate and you get a degree, do you?
Yes.
What's that degree?
It's a Bachelor of Medicine.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
But you can't work just with that.
No,
Right.
no. You can decide if you want to do a master's in like neuroscience and then more, like go more into, I don't know,
Right.
research and stuff, and not have like,
Okay.
not finish the doctor's degree.
Right, okay.
You could do that,
Yeah.
but with a Bachelor of Medicine, other than research or, I don't know, journalism probably, or
Yeah.
you're not going to be able to practice as a doctor. You need the
Yeah.
Masters of Medicine and
is
then
that-
the MD degree.
Is that clinical generally, the MD?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. But do you get to, as in if you get into the bachelor's, are you guaranteed the MD position as well?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to reapply.
Right. But you just
Yeah.
get to select which sort
Yeah.
of pathway. Interesting. Okay. Right. That's quite different to here.
Well, don't get me wrong. It's like undergrad med school, but that is divided because every university degree now in Europe is divided into a bachelor's degree and a master's degree.
Right.
So you first do 3 years, and then you get some sort of diploma that they call bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Medicine, and then you do another 3 years, and then you get the master's degree.
Yeah.
But it's all together is like med school.
Yeah.
It's like an undergrad med school
Okay.
here, I guess.
So is MBBS, I'm assuming it's just an English thing then, as in
Yeah,
England.
MBBS doesn't
Right.
say anything to me.
Okay. Yeah, because I have an MBBS. I don't have an MD. Because I was an undergrad. So here, which I think it's the English structure.
Yeah.
It's just an undergraduate degree, or
Yeah.
was when I did it.
Yeah.
But that's changed now. It's Americanized, I think, more so than the European model. But you get an MD at the end. You have to apply separately though, so you don't. I think some people, I think from high school can get into MD straight away, but you do a bachelor's degree first and then the MD afterwards.
Okay.
But you can also just apply to the MD without having done the bachelor's,
Yeah.
having done a different bachelor's,
Okay.
as long as you meet the criteria. It's changed. I don't know. It's changed since I did it, because when I did it, it was the last year of MBBS at Melbourne. So it's all changed since then.
Okay. Complicated.
Yeah. Interesting, really. So it was a different university though, was it, for MD, or?
Yeah, but just for me, just because, like, not just for me, because at the bilingual university, you were only able to do the bachelor's degree, and then everybody had to go to another university.
Yeah.
But like the 5 main university that offer the medical studies, they all offer the whole thing. It's just that 6th university that offers the first 3 years, but not the clinical years.
And when did you start to feel like you were on the right track?
Oh, from the beginning.
Okay.
That was, and that's the crazy thing, that that day in September 2006 at the University of Zurich.
What date?
Ah,
I'm
I
kidding.
think
I want the date and time.
well, time was late afternoon. The date was must have been 17th of September, something like that. I'm not entirely sure about the date. I'm pretty sure it's September 2006.
Yeah.
I never questioned it again. It was that feeling of, that's what I have to do. That's my path. And you work for it.
Yeah. So even the year that you struggled, you didn't find, it didn't put you off?
No. It probably taught me how to work hard.
Yeah.
I studied like crazy. I've never studied as much as I did during that first year that I didn't pass my exams. But I went to the library at 7 a.m. and I stayed at the library till 10 p.m.
Wow.
The days we didn't have lectures.
Yeah.
The days we had lectures, it was more... So one of my friends, she always went to get our seats because you had to get seats early because of so many students and everybody, like of the because it was so competitive. You had to get there early to get seats and to get good seats.
Yeah.
So she would always go early. She would probably go 7:15, and then the lecture started at 8:15, I think. And the days I had lectures, I went there at 8. But otherwise we were a small group of friends that stuck together, and we were not doing anything else. Like we were studying. We were not going out on weekends like normal uni students. We were working really hard, and it was really bitter to then put in so much work, so much effort, and then you don't pass a single exam the whole year. That was really hard for my self-esteem as well. I was, before that, I had never been exposed to me having to prove myself so badly. I think retrospectively, it made me stronger for everything that came after. But after that year, I was destroyed. Like I had no self-esteem. I had no confidence in my abilities, in my skills.
How did you get past that?
I think. What did I do? No, it's.
I told you there'd be some psychotherapy.
It's a good question. Well, I had a retired chemistry teacher that helped me throughout that first year, like in when I struggled, when I didn't pass, and he really helped me to understand some basic scientific principles. It was too late to succeed that year, but that helped me afterwards. I also changed my learning style and strategy. Went to see someone or had some help as well from I don't even know how I met her, but she showed me a certain style of how to learn and how to get past all of that knowledge. And then I developed my own learning style. And I think not giving up. Like giving up was not an option. And just to be persistent and be consistent. And I guess that was it. And that's something that's actually something that one of the values that I got from my mother. That was she still is. She when I was a kid, she always said, when you start something, you finish it. So if you want to play the violin at the beginning of the school year, you will do it till the end of the school year. There's no quitting in the middle of the school year. So with everything, it was working hard for what you want, but also not giving up.
So even though you felt like your self-esteem and everything was challenged, it didn't. The overall, the bigger picture, the goal was what drove you, I guess, in a way, maybe to push through. Interesting.
And at some point, I had to be strict with myself as well. Like I remember, I did a contract with myself, to structure my day and to be disciplined.
Did you sign it?
Yes, of course.
Who witnessed it?
No one. Me, myself, and I.
3 signatures of this. One with your left hand.
it's really, not giving up.
Yeah.
Not giving up, and not to let that tear me down completely.
Yeah.
And it required effort. But that's the thing, like I said, I almost dropped out of high school at some point. I always had to fight for what I want.
Yeah.
It's not that there are people, they achieve things without a lot of effort or without putting in a lot of effort, but everything falls into their, do you say that in English, falls into their lap?
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Falls into their lap as they go. Well, that was never the case for me. Like everything I did in my life, I had to put in effort and to fight for it and to be persistent and to follow that path with the grit that is needed.
Yeah.
And
look where you are now.
There's a lot of other examples like that as well. Like, I really wanted a specific job. I got rejected, and then in the end I got it. Or even for coming here, I needed an English test, and I obviously failed.
What?
Yes, I failed the first time I took it, so I had to
Really?
retake it. Yes,
That wouldn't have been obvious. Wow.
So, yeah, I think that really, it's not giving up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how low your self-esteem is. It's,
Interesting. What was so once you got through all of that, what was your like starting off as a doctor? How was that like?
I was amazing.
You were amazing. Did you say you were amazing or it was amazing? I heard you were amazing.
That was definitely not the case.
I mean, I'm not questioning. I'm not doubting.
So the final year of med school, I studied as well, not only for my final exams, but also for the USMLEs.
Yeah.
So for the clinical part of the USMLEs, so the step 2 CS and step 2 CK.
Sure. Actually, I haven't done the USMLE, but sure.
But because, as I said, like, it's since probably 2010, 2009 that I wanted to go abroad and have an experience abroad. And I really wanted to go to the US, so I had to take those exams. And because I learned for those different exams and accumulated that huge knowledge that I wish I'd still have. I was looking, where I started my medical career after med school as an intern. Well, in Switzerland there is no difference between intern, resident, and registrar. So,
Okay.
First year of med school in an emergency department.
Yeah.
It was an amazing emergency department where I was able to apply all that knowledge that I accumulated just before starting there. And it was a dynamic group of people, and it was so much fun to work there. That's also when I got to know about SMAC and FOMED community and all that kind of things. And medicine became so alive. It was fun. It was passionate. It was exchanging knowledge. It was teamwork. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Really. Yeah.
Can I ask though, so in your MD postgrad degree, do you start to sort of practice as you in university, as in equivalent of like being an intern, because I guess once you graduate, if there's no difference between intern,
Yeah.
registrar,
Yeah, so we do, I think you do internship just after med school, right?
yeah,
Yeah, we do that sort of internship during med school.
right.
It's our last or second to last year that we
Yeah.
do a year of internship
Okay.
in hospitals.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where you work as the most junior
Yes.
person and
Yeah.
writing notes, essentially, is it? Or do you get to do some procedures and things?
If you're lucky, you get to do procedures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned how to do spinals during my internship year. Actually, yeah, I did, because during my internship year, I did anesthetics. I did general medicine, anesthetics, ICU. And I was very, very lucky with the positions I had. Sometimes a bit overwhelming as well, because like anesthetics, there was sometimes just me
Wow.
as an intern
Yeah.
from the anesthetics part. And there were some situations that were not perfectly easy.
Yeah.
But we do that during med school.
Right. So it would have given you a good skill set then when you started for ED then.
Yes. Yeah.
And then how does it work to getting into ICU training?
So there is not a system like here with the colleges. It's more. There is one general association that determines what you need for which specialty. So, for example, they tell you if you want to become a specialist in intensive care medicine, you need 1 year of, you need to work 1 year as a general medicine registrar, 1 year as anesthetics registrar, and then at least 4.5 years as a ICU registrar.
Yeah. To become a consultant.
To get the specialty title of
Right.
ICU, like a specialist in intensive care medicine, and then being able to work as a consultant.
Okay.
And then they tell you, there's 1 exam or 2 exams, an oral and a written exam.
At the end or at the start?
You can take it whenever, basically.
Right, okay.
Yeah. They say it's better to take it at the end of your specialty training, but there's no rule really. It's just a suggestion that you should take it at the end, and so you can decide by yourself if you want to do 1 year of ICU, then 1 year of medicine, 1 year of anesthetics, then go back to ICU, or that's all you're free to choose.
Yeah.
There is certain. You need to have a certain amount of years at a certain size of hospital. So you can't just stay in the small hospitals and do everything there. So that's just in the rules.
Yeah.
They tell you how much time you need at a tertiary hospital and how much time. Doesn't matter if you're at a smaller or bigger hospital.
Yeah.
And so for that same association does the programs for every specialty. So they will it says, well, for to become a GP you need 3 years of general medicine and 2 years of whatever.
Yeah.
And
Do you, with getting those different requirements, do you have to apply for those jobs each time, or do you get sort of allocated? Okay.
Yeah. There is in certain hospitals some programs that they offer to do everything, and they organize the things for you. But generally, you apply to each position separately.
And why ICU?
Why ICU? I think it's the best specialty of all.
Not biased at all. How did that happen? As in, like, from starting in ED to...
Yeah.
Do you, actually, going back to that, did you choose to go into ED, or was that okay?
Yes. I really liked ED as well. And to begin my medical career, it allowed me to apply my very broad knowledge and to get better at that. So I was always about wanting to have the broad spectre. Like I was not really interested about going in every detail of, I don't know, cardiology.
Yeah.
All the very, very specific things. I was more of I want a broad knowledge about the whole body, and I don't want to be limited to one organ system. I somehow decided during third year of med school that I want to do ICU.
Okay.
And I had a really great physiology professor at that bilingual university. And it was just, physiology was the best. It was amazing. And I still have my notes from my first 2 years of med school from that physiology professors. Yeah. And I regularly look at them.
Yeah.
Because it's just great how he explained everything and the diagrams he'd draw and how it made you think, and it was somehow logic. And then that escalated to pathophysiology, and then that applied in ICU with all the machines and the pharmacotherapy you have available. And I think it's the most interesting thing. I'm not interested in all the detailed meds to treat heart failure.
The difference between an ACE and an ARB. Yes.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm biased, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, I totally get the fascination for that as well. But for me, it was more, I want everything to be linked together, and I want to be able to understand what I have to do with the machines in order to change things. I mean, mechanical ventilation is great. When I discovered in during my internship in anesthetics, I was amazed about how you can change that, and how you can see what your intervention does, and how you can measure it. And
I think that was a big thing for me, is in like if you're doing physician stream of things, you know, you start a new drug and then you see the effect, you know, 3 months, 6 months, years later, or you don't see anything really, hopefully, if that's doing the right thing. But whereas what we do, we can see the effect pretty immediately and see whether or not it's doing what it's supposed to, and then act accordingly, which I think is interesting and exciting. Like, it's feedback, it's tactile in a way.
Yeah, and it's really applied physiology.
Yeah.
And
manipulating it like gods. But why not surgery? Is that like specific, I guess, in a way?
Do you apply physiology during surgery?
I guess it's when you cut the artery and you see, you can apply sort of, you know, Poiseuille's rules of flow when you're watching the arteries bleed out. Because, you know, now the radius is infinite, therefore flow is
That quick. Makes me think about a patient we had lately that he had I'm not 100% sure, I think a AAA repair, and he basically bled out during surgery. So the whole blood volume was replaced during surgery. But then and he came to ICU obviously after surgery. And the surgeons called the wife of the patient after surgery and told her everything went well. And then patient comes to ICU and he was in terrible shock. Yeah. And I called the wife and tell her, well, I'm not sure if he's going to make the night. And she goes, well, the surgeon just called me and he said everything went fine. We were so relieved because we knew it was a risky thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can you please tell me the name and the date of birth of your husband? Because I'm not sure we're talking about the same patient or the same person. And it was correct. I was talking to the wife of this patient.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, and then I had to explain to her, well, probably technically,
He survived the surgery, so for
technically
AAA,
the
that's-
surgery went well,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all repaired. But
the
yeah,
side effects of that now you have to fix.
he has his blood volume completely replaced, had to be completely replaced because of the blood loss. I mean, that was like ridiculous. I'm so sorry. But I mean, yeah, well, I totally get it. I totally get it because that's what it was. It was a technically difficult surgery, and it went well. Well, the result of the surgery is what was planned. But that in the meantime, he needed a massive transfusion. Is not what was challenging for the surgeon from the get-go, you know. So yeah, but it was frustrating to talk to the wife of this patient, to say, oh well, I'm sorry that you just got good news, and I'm gonna tell you the worst news,
Bring
and
back down
we'll
to
have you
reality.
come in at night time because I'm not sure he was making the night. So yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, like different perspectives, isn't it, from their point of view? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I guess they've been operating for hours and
Yes.
done everything that they could. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I don't blame anyone. You know, it's that's why I'm saying I like to see the patient, the whole patient, and I like to see the patient, and that's part of ICU as well, with their families. It's not just the patient. The patient has a support system. Ideally, there is obviously some of the patients don't have that, but there is a support system behind the patient that is worried, that is that needs to be guided through this critical illness the patient is going through, and yeah, it's that's part of it too, and that's part of ICU as well. It's not just applied physiology and to know all the organ system. It's so much more than that.
That is a good segue to my next question.
Did I answer your question actually?
I don't know what my question
Okay.
is. I'm happy with it. It's a good response regardless. I think you did, as in why you went into ICU. So,
Yeah.
But like we're talking about surgeons, and you're talking about family and us managing them afterwards. I think it's interesting. Like something I've thought about a lot in the last few years is how different specialties look at patients in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So we see patients in a very specific situation,
Yeah.
completely different. So I guess for that patient that you talked about, the way the surgeons would have seen the patient and what they do to the patient is completely different to how we deal with them. What do you feel is your role to your patient as an intensivist?
What is my role?
Just to, I guess, clarify that a little bit. I think for other specialties like surgeons or physicians, they have an interaction with the patient, when they're awake a lot of the times, or they will at some point. And they have an interaction with the patient themselves. And often it's longitudinal. They will see them months and years potentially as well, and have a longer term relationship with them, whereas I don't think we have that. And a lot of the time I feel we don't really see the patients awake to start with.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily meet the patient as a person. We meet them at their worst, in a sense, when they're really sick and potentially on death's door. So how do you think that affects your role to the patient, in a sense?
As a generalist, and I think an intensivist is some sort of generalist. So the ED physician is a generalist. The gen med doctor is a generalist, and I think the intensivist is a generalist as well. And I think the generalists, they're the patient's advocate. They have to, I say probably in a mean way, but we have to protect our patients from all the other specialties. So we are the ones bringing everything together. And we are the ones in the end that see all the organ systems together. And so we are the patient's advocate. We are, our role is to respect the patient. I think that's something we sometimes have to remind ourselves, because we don't interact with them in a conscious way. That's how we react right now, interact right now. It's and we have to respect the patient, and act for the patient, because they can't act for themselves. So we have to take that part. We have to assimilate all the medical knowledge together with the family discussions, or how the loved ones know the patient. And so from all of that, draw a conclusion in the best possible way for the patient, in what he would have wanted, or what would suit best, knowing all the medical stuff, but also the social stuff, and all those aspects of a patient.
Yeah. But in regards to the advocacy bit, I think I would disagree in the sense that a lot of the time, like a physician or a GP or that has known the patient for longer than us, I mean, arguably they would be a better advocate, right? Because they've known the patient for longer. They've known what they're like when they're awake and conscious, and had an interaction with them. And we're only meeting them in the state of critical illness.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, how are we protecting? Because wouldn't they be a good advocate as well, for them, as knowing them as a person as well?
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like, all the generalists are the patient's advocate.
No, I'm talking about the non-generalists, like say a renal physician, for example, or say an oncologist. This is always the difficult things in ICU, right? Or a hematologist.
Yeah.
Who has a malignancy of some description, and they're still in they've started the treatment. They have a journey with them for months or years. Sure, they might only be looking at one specific system, but they still know the person outside of the illness in some degree, as in they've known them for years. They've seen how they've changed with their illness, and we only see them at their worst, critically ill state. Yeah. And we make an assessment of what they were like before based on what information we hear, but we don't actually have that tactile feel to it because we haven't seen it. So I think in some ways, like, they have more sort of validity to how they advocate for the patient in some ways, wouldn't they? I think, because they've known them for longer, they've seen what they're like, they've seen how it's changed.
I totally agree, and one doesn't exclude the other. So I think they're part of it.
Yeah.
But again, in the critical ill patient, we are the ones that have all the medical knowledge, or we are the ones that put together all the medical knowledge from the different specialties. So the oncologist who has been following the patients for years or for months knows that aspect of the medical. Yeah. Of course, that he knows, or he or she knows the patient and his social life, and how he or she was dealing with the situation, all of that stuff, and that's important too. Yeah. And but contributes from a medical part with the oncologic knowledge. But then we see how the patient reacts to the treatment, reacts to our treatment. And so, of course, there are the patient's advocate as well. But in that situation, when the patient is in ICU, that's what probably I would say, no, is we have a bigger or the better overview in that moment, and we have to take into account all those things obviously as well.
So appreciating, I guess, the intricacies of critical illness that might not be as understood maybe by the specialists in some ways, or like the fact that now they have renal failure, liver failure.
Not understood. It's more. He's in ICU and we monitor the patient 24/7. So we see the patient 24/7. We're just the closest at that point to the patient.
Yeah.
It's just because the patient is in ICU and we're there all the time.
Yeah.
It's just because of that.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Yeah. And how do you feel about like that short, brief sort of interaction, I guess, compared to, how do you think that would be different to, as in we see them for like days maybe, and I think we have a different relationship to patients that we see for a few days as opposed to, the ones that are there for months and months and months, right?
Well, a patient that comes after successful and uncomplicated cardiothoracic surgery that just stays the night and leaves the next morning, obviously my impact on the patient or my role as a patient advocate is not requested in that patient because probably he already comes extubated or we can extubate him quite quickly, and then he can advocate for himself. But there, I think it's not really the critically ill patient. It's more of a surveillance, post-operative, extended monitoring kind of situation. It's not really a critically ill patient.
I think
so that's different.
post-cardiac patients you're used to are far more streamlined than what we have. As in we don't, most ones I've seen don't get extubated for a few hours usually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you've seen, you've been here for 6 months now.
Well, yeah, but...
And, we go on pump for our CAGs. I'm like...
Yeah, true. In my old hospital,
I really learnt as of last year after you told me.
Off pump CAGs.
Which is routine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
Yeah. But they do it here as well.
Rarely.
Well, they can.
Yeah, this is true.
No, so I mean, obviously, it depends on what the patient is in ICU for, and so the needs of the patient, my interaction with the patient, and the relationship I build with the patient is very, very different. It's like can be non-existent with some patients and can be very, very close with other patients. Yeah. So I can't really generalize.
Yeah. Something you alluded to at the start, you said, not even a lot of the time other specialties don't fully appreciate what we do in ICU or the nuances of it. What do you, from your experience, Switzerland and here, wish that other specialties understood better about ICU?
And that's probably a little bit going into what I said with the broad knowledge or very specific deep knowledge. So we have a lot of different pathologies we're confronted with, and sometimes don't have the detailed knowledge of a specific condition that the specialists have. So the neurosurgeon obviously knows that detail or that very specific thing about this condition, and that I don't necessarily, because my forte is being broad and not having that deep level of knowledge. Yeah. Because I think you just can't have it all. Yeah. But probably I'll say something else in a couple of years. Yeah. And I think the most important thing is to be respectful and understanding between specialties. Like, no one is stupid for not knowing something specific or asking about something specific. Like if it's not, like even if it was my specialty, I still am allowed to ask. But just considering that we're all, in the end, we're all here for the same thing. We're all here for our patients to get better. I hope that's our all aim. And if we start realizing that if we work together, the outcome for our patient is going to be multiple times better than if we fight each other, that will change so much. That when I set my first job in ED after I graduated med school, and that was exactly the team dynamic that I'm looking for in a team and in a workplace. It's pushing each other to be better, because we can see that by doing that, our outcomes of our patients are better. And we know more, and it's so much more fun than fighting against each other.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, being disrespectful because I didn't know something specific about this hematologic condition or about this surgical technique. And medicine is not a competition. It gets better if we work together and be respectful with each other.
Have you found difficulties with other specialties to be common? And is there a difference between Switzerland and here, do you think, in the interaction between ICU and specialties?
I think probably overall it is very similar. And overall the problems are the same. And overall it comes always down to the same things. And I feel there's not the same things are true for in Switzerland and in Australia. So there's not a big difference. There will always be specialties that are rude on the phone. And there will probably be days where I am not the nicest person on the phone as well. Because that's what stress sometimes is like. Because we're exposed to changing conditions all the time. And sometimes it's stressful. And then someone calling us for something that is not as important as something else in that moment can be annoying. And
it's probably easier for you here though, because you might not be able to find the right word in English to swear at them, so they won't realise how angry you are.
Oh, believe me, I can.
When you need to be, you'll find the right. Or just start swearing at them in German. That'll be terrifying.
Yeah, even more terrifying. No, like it takes a lot for me to not be nice on the phone when someone calls me and wants something. But there's moments where I have to say, well, that is not a priority right now. I will call back, or I will discuss that with you once you come to ICU, or whatever it is about. It's just what I can't accept is disrespect. Like, yes, sometimes, just disrespect. Just be kind. Just be kind and respectful with each other, and be very clear about when a situation is now not appropriate for that question or whatever.
Yeah. What have you found the most challenging interactions with other specialties from whilst being an intensivist?
Say again?
What sort of situations have you had most difficulties with other specialties in from an ICU perspective?
when the leading team doesn't agree with the ICU concept or with what the ICU team thinks is the best treatment and home team think is the best treatment are completely the opposite, then it's hard.
Yeah.
Then it's always hard.
And, do you get that a lot in Switzerland as well? Do you find?
It can happen in Switzerland as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classical thing is always a surgical patient that is end of life or should be a palliative approach, and the surgical team doesn't approve that it should be like the only thing something else can be done when sometimes very clearly nothing can be done.
Have you found anything that seems to help in those situations?
Again, communication and put away all the pride. Like there's not, as I said, there's not against each other. We have to work together in order to offer the patient the best treatment. We have to work with each other, and we have to be kind and respectful with each other. I think it all comes down to that in the end. If in a team dynamic, there's so much potential that can come out of a team dynamic if we put away all the pride and the prejudice.
Going back to the library. I think this is like part of the reason for me doing this and wanting to talk to registrars from other specialties. I find that in these situations, for example, the surgical one where, for example, ICU thinks that this patient's approaching the end of their life, then we should go to a palliative approach to their care. And the surgical team thinks that we should push on and see if they can make some recovery. I find that there's just going back to that question of, what's our interaction with the patient compared to theirs. I think like we look after them after the operation's done, and the surgeons have seen the patient beforehand. They've done the intervention. We are just supporting really. And I feel like that's a different bond with the patient compared to what we have. Like it's potentially a life-saving intervention that they've done. And I feel like that there's more investment from their end. Again, then that's probably a bias. Like I think we have our own biases in ICU. We see a lot of morbidity and mortality, and that probably skews us one way. And I think the way the interaction that they have with their patient kind of skews them in a different way, which then leads to, I guess, that discrepancy between the best path forward. And I don't know, like I think it would be good if both teams understood each other a bit better. And I don't know how that sort of occurs in the natural scheme of things. Everyone's busy, and then medicine's just getting more and more subspecialized, so you don't get as much exposure to other things anymore. And people are specializing even earlier, so you just do that one thing for your whole career, and you don't really appreciate what other specialties do as much. But I think for me, that's why I wanted to talk to other specialties and try and understand why they do what they do and why they think the way they do. Why as a surgeon do you feel like you think it's the right thing to do to continue treating this patient? Because I don't think it's because, sure, there can be certain people that have pride in their work and that's effective, but ultimately I think they still want to do the right thing for the patient, and that's why they're pushing, not because of other reasons. But they, for some reason, think that the right thing for the patient might be to continue.
Yeah, but there is an aspect to that. And I don't think I'm not saying that we are any better in that. We are probably the worst. We're like, we decide it's a palliative approach to that patient, and we stick to that.
Closed ICU, you can't tell us.
Exactly, and everybody telling us something else is like, oh no, you don't understand. This is not going to go anywhere. We're going to change. No, he's not for intubation. He's not for PCR. We're going to change that right away. And we are sometimes very stubborn on that as well, and don't really listen to what. I'll stick with the example and the surgeons that want to push on and do that procedure. And this makes me think of anti-vaxxers for COVID. So the anti-vaxxers, they decide in a very short amount of time that they don't want to get vaccinated, and to convince them to do the opposite is basically impossible. So they decide within half an hour to 2 days that they are not going to get vaccinated for COVID. And it's basically impossible to change their mind, because that's how humans function. So they're very stubborn, and they just stick to what they have in their minds and are not flexible with that. And that's something that we are very bad at as well. And if both parties are like that, so we say, oh no, he's not for surgery. Surgeons say he is for surgery, and both are just stubbornly sticking to their opinion without listening to each other, then it's going to go nowhere. Yeah. So there has to be a constructive exchange of knowledge. And that's why I say pride. It's pride is probably the wrong word, but it's more of exchange and be flexible in your head. Yeah. There is no right. There's no right or wrong. Yeah. There is it is a discussion, and medicine is not black and white. Yeah. That's what we have to not to forget as well. Medicine is more gray areas than 50 Shades of Grey. No, but it's we have to stay flexible, and we have to try to understand why the surgeons want to go on with that surgery.
I think pride is the right word, in the sense that, to not feel like just because you change your mind and agree with the other person doesn't make you wrong or any less, because ultimately it's not about having the right opinion to start with. Yeah. It's about changing with the situation.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Communication, it's go back to the Beatles and, love is all you need.
Exactly.
I'm just going on with the references that you started.
Well, that's what but that's what I'm saying. Like, let's be kind. Let's be kind. Let's listen, and let's want to work together. Yeah.
I feel like there is a change since when I started medical school to the trainee, like junior staff that I see nowadays, or the surgeons now as well. Like, I used to be terrified of surgeons when I was a med student, because there was this.
I still am.
Stereotype of them just being, nasty and not friendly. Yeah. But more and more, like the junior surgeons, at least that I see, they're they're approachable. You can talk to them. You can have a joke with them, and are willing to listen to other opinions and work together. I think it's a good change overall. I had a resident recently who I worked with, who is doing surgical trades, PGY3, the third year out of med school. He's wants to be a surgeon, general surgeon, I think. And, we were talking about quality of life issues on our nighttime ward round. And I'm like, I'm having a conversation with a surgeon essentially about quality of life. That's great. That's what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thinking about that before doing any operation. It's great.
Yeah.
Moving tact a little bit. What's something in your practice as a intensivist that you're proud of? Like you said, when you're an intern, you were amazing. Now that you're...
I didn't say I was amazing. I'm part of my team.
That's not you.
No,
Well,
but it's part of me.
Are you saying you've made the team better just by being present?
Obviously. No. To encourage people to say what they're thinking, to give their opinion. It doesn't matter if they're a first-year nursing student. They might think about something that is important, or they might have an idea that no one else came up with. So encourage that every part of the team is a legit part of the team. There is no hierarchy within a team. And there is not, this one has more to say than the other one. Obviously, you need some sort of leader to prevent chaos in some situations. But otherwise, you're a treatment team. And listen to your nurses, what they have to say, the bedside nurse of a patient. So important. So important. And value what she's saying. Not just pretend to listen. And she said her 5 sentences. Now it's good. You know?
Now it's time for the doctor to talk.
Exactly. Now we're getting to the real stuff. No, it's and I mean, sometimes young ICU nurses, they don't feel like they have something to add, but that's not true. The older ICU nurses, they know perfectly that they have something to add. But no, what I'm saying is practice that team spirit.
Yeah.
Like the best times I practiced medicine is when teamwork was working. When the team was working together perfectly.
Yeah.
Everybody knew what the other was doing, and everybody knew what everybody's responsibility was. And yeah, that's the best thing. Like, you can have the worst outcome of, I don't know, a code blue, or everybody be full of blood and whatever. If you work together as a team, it's a good experience.
Yeah. Had a experience recently on a night shift where I was on a pod and one of my patients who seemed like a soft admission. He was just very tachycardic in the setting of a GI bleed, which had been going on for 6 days. But it was like constantly 130. He was a bit anxious as well. So we didn't really do much for most of the night, but at like 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or so, getting close to the end of the shift, he just suddenly woke up after a nap, like grey and clammy and shut down, and blood pressure started dropping. So it seemed like he was having an acute bleed. So the SR came by, and he had some access, but we were getting in more access and putting in an art line because we didn't think it was necessary before that, and getting some blood transfusion going as well. Like everyone there, including the nurses, knew what was happening, and it was just all efficient. And so one person was doing one thing, the other person was doing the other thing, and it just all worked very smoothly. And it wasn't loud; it was quiet, despite the stress of him, actively bleeding. And things we got control in a half an hour to an hour. And the SR afterwards was like, there's nothing more enjoyable than having like a group of people that know what's happening, they're in sync and doing this, all like working on the patient together.
Exactly.
And you get control, and you're like, yeah.
Nice.
And like working with you, like I completely I can see what you mean. Like you're very approachable. Everyone knows you. You have like this personal relationship with everyone in the unit, which just makes it easier, like I guess, because then they don't have to feel like you're not approachable when you're doing a ward round, because you can have a conversation with them outside of the work.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's what is really, really important to me, my daily practice. Other than really liking the medicine and the science behind the diseases and the talks with the families. It's really, I've seen what can happen if it works, if a team works together.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing. On the opposite, it's the worst if you have like a code blue and everybody works against each other.
Yeah.
And no one listens to no one.
Yeah.
Just everybody does their own thing, what they think is right now. And they don't listen to each other at all.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That's the worst what can happen.
Agreed.
I mean, probably the patient in the end, he gets ROSC because someone gave him the adrenaline and someone pushed the Defi. But the experience is horrible.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It in the end, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. The outcome obviously tends to be much better if a team works together. But that experience to work hand in hand is priceless.
Controversial question, but do you think as a female doctor?
Yes. The answer is yes. No. Say your question, sorry.
As a female doctor, do you find it is harder for you working with nurses or other doctors than as a male doctor?
Yes.
Didn't need to ask the question. What do you notice as a difference?
People. It's.
I told you it'd be controversial.
No, it's okay. I don't know how to say properly, but, and probably I'm not using the right words. Automatically, like I'm a short, dark-haired female. If I get into code blue as the supposedly leader, no one will take me seriously from the get-go if they don't know me. Because I am short, I am female, I look very young, and my voice just gets lost amongst all the other females that will be around the bed. Like there's so much more females in those cases, and we all look kind of the same, and so automatically I will not be referred to as the person who decides, or I will not be the person that people listen to if they don't know me. So if I go to a medical or to code blue with a male nurse, it's always they talk to the male nurse. They never talk to me first, unless they know me. So no, after a while, people start to get to know you and approach you with the needed respect. No, just kidding.
Maybe you should wear like 6-inch heels and.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if that would create more respect. But yeah, it still is. There still is this stereotype of the females being nurses or cleaners, and the males in a hospital. It's obvious the males are the doctors.
Do you think does that apply in Switzerland as well?
It does to a certain extent. I find it more pronounced in Australia than it is in Switzerland, interestingly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on why?
No.
Yeah.
No idea.
I thought maybe in Switzerland everyone's shorter, so you don't. No. Interesting.
I don't know.
I'm embarrassed to admit this, but at the start of this year, I asked one of my consultants if she was a nurse.
Oh.
I was so embarrassed. I was mortified because I always, I'm conscious of it. I don't want to make that mistake. But, everyone's in scrubs. And in my defense, this is not a defense, and I apologize. I'm at fault. It's all my fault. So I was talking to a female consultant who I knew was a consultant. And then she joined because I'd never met her before. And she was wearing scrubs just like everyone else. Everyone looks the same. And I was told that the pod that she would have been in the consultant in was closed, so I didn't think there would be a consultant there. So when they were going to go get coffee together, I assumed she was the in charge and the consultant were going to get coffee together. So when that's why I assumed she was a nurse, and I shouldn't have. Yeah, I asked her if she was a nurse, and she was like, "No, one of the consultants." I was like, "Oh God, I'm going to get fired. I'm never getting re-hired here again." But in my other defense,
it happens. I'm not saying, I've mistaken people, but what their job was as well. But yeah, generally, I feel the difference between females and males almost every day.
Geez, that's not good. Does it affect you in ICU itself, where the people do know you? Do you think it's harder or more challenging for you to convey a plan or lead a team than it would be for a male registrar?
Well, I guess as soon as people know me, it probably doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
But I had, at the start of this term, so we did ward round, and there was the consultant made two new registrars, and one resident.
Yeah.
And so at some point, the male consultant had to leave the ward round because of other duties and asked me to take over the ward round. And, well, it was pretty clear that he wanted me to continue the ward round. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what happened, but my two registrars and my resident disappeared in all directions. And I'm like, no, we've lost our leader. We're doing the ward round. Yeah. You stay here. I had to go and look for every single one of them, to get back. Although I thought I was pretty clear on what we were doing and that they didn't have to just leave the ward round because we were still doing the ward round. Yeah. The consultant leaving the ward round didn't mean that they were able to leave the ward round. I don't know if it. I don't know if that was because I'm a short female doctor, but clearly I don't have the. And that's probably I don't know, stupid to say, but I don't have the authority that a male equivalent has. Yeah. I don't know if I was a guy, if that would have been different. In that particular situation. Yeah. But I felt like the male consultant had left, and now they were all off. They can do whatever they want because the authority person that was male had left. Yeah. And so they were free to do whatever.
Party time.
Until I cracked the shit and then told them how things are run and that we are doing a ward round and they don't have to disappear. Yeah. Because I'm not I can do it by myself, but they're here for some. Oh, I can't believe me.
I can't. I struggle.
I mean, they're here for something as well. Yeah. So unless they have something very important to do that is not the ward round, go ahead. But
something that's not paid to do. Yeah, it's a lot of female trainees. It's a similar, consistent sort of thing. if they're super friendly, then they don't get respect, or if they're the opposite and they command respect, then they get called bad names, or are thought to be unfriendly or unapproachable in the back, which is not a good balance at all in any way. And I'm sorry on behalf of my whole gender.
No, it's not. It's not only males that do it.
Yeah.
It's like it's males and females that like a nurse will never argue with a new male doctor the way they can argue with me when they don't know me.
Female cat, no respect. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like it's. Sometimes you have like a new resident that just started, and you're telling the nurse what she has to do, and then she's like referring to the new male resident and goes like, "Are you sure we want to do that?" And you're like, "Come on, I'm in."
I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I've heard a lot as well. Like, and that's why I was curious to hear your perspective, because, you do have a good relationship with the nursing staff from what I've seen. Like, everyone knows you and knows that you're senior, as to if you still have those difficulties of getting that respect, which is disappointing that it's still the case.
Well, as I said, like it's really when someone doesn't know me that it's more of a thing.
Yeah.
Once I know the nurse and the nurse knows me, or the team knows me and I know the team, it's different because that's what I'm saying. That
Except
we
that they
respect
still left your ward round.
Yeah, but they were new.
Yeah,
they were new registrars. It was at the beginning of the term.
Weren't house trained.
No, they were not at all. They didn't know me. They know me now.
And I'm going to leave your ward round again.
No, that's not an option anymore.
And now they're calling you names behind your back because you're the mean registrar.
Oh, I can very well live with that. They can call me whatever names they want. And that was not mean. I was just saying how the things are run.
Yeah. This is the way. It's my way or the highway.
No, I mean, come on. I feel like I don't have to tell a registrar, an ICU registrar, how we are not finished with the ward round and we're still doing the ward round. But yeah, that's other story.
So now I know you've written a book and published lots of papers.
I wouldn't say exactly lots of papers, and it was just a chapter in a book.
So you wrote a book. Sticking with that story. What are your other non-clinical interests professionally?
Well, honestly, I'm still trying to find my niche. I think in ICU you need at some point to create your niche of things. And I haven't exactly found it, what my niche is. There's a lot of things I like. I like to teach. I like to do some little studies, but none of that has become something I'm particularly good at, or something I am spending a dedicated amount of time for. So
still finding
my niche. Yes.
Okay, so going away from work, so I know you've done a lot of stuff. You've travelled all of Australia now, and except for Perth because no one's allowed in there.
There's a lot of things I haven't seen in Australia yet, but yeah.
What do you like to do outside of work?
What I need to balance out the tension and stress I get from work is sport.
Mm-hmm.
So my happy place is the gym because any sort of physical activity actually, but the gym is just the easiest, I guess, with shift work to schedule in somewhere.
Yeah.
I would be really unhappy if I didn't go to the gym because it's really, just me time and time to recharge and time to do something for me and my health.
Do you still play violin or do drama or anything?
I actually just restarted playing the violin.
Yeah.
And
I have a violin here for you that you can. No, I don't. It's a shame. I was going to get you to play. Never mind.
Yeah. I should have brought mine. Mine is at my place.
You could make the theme song for this podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
No.
You're here for longer. You're here for a bit longer. You can definitely do it.
Good. Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Free, of course. I'm not paying for this.
We have to find an agreement. Well, I just restarted playing the violin and want now to I'm about to join a community orchestra here.
Oh wow.
Because that used to be my recharge thing back in high school, and then I with med school and then the specialty training, it just didn't fit in at all.
Yeah.
And but now I really want to get back into it. Yeah.
And how do you go about balancing work and these activities and enjoying life, I guess?
I think it's really hard with our job to find some sort of work-life balance. And that's one of the biggest downsides. And that's also something that this pandemic has shown me is the importance of family and friends. One of the things that with pursuing a career in medicine, I think often, or at least for me, that's what is true. You pursue your goals, your career goals. You have one step after the other. You graduate high school, then you do the first year of medicine. You don't make it right away. Then you start over again. Then you do that bachelor's in medicine, then a master's. Then you do your research projects, and then you do specialty exams. And then it's always a hustle. It's always running after the next thing. And I think you need goals in your life, obviously, for your professional life as well. But never forget about friends and family. Because at the end of the day, it's although work is great, and I mean, working in medicine is obviously great, and having a great team is the best. They all will never be able to replace friends and family.
Yeah.
And I think the pandemic and the solitude that this pandemic has created shows it even more.
Yeah, how is, I guess, moving countries and going into lockdown and not knowing anyone except for work, how did that go?
Yeah.
You survived.
I survived. It was hard. I traveled around the world, but never knew what homesickness was. I had to come to Australia, be in lockdown, to experience homesickness.
Yeah.
during this whole experience here, it would not have been possible without my family supporting me even from afar.
Mm-hmm.
It is so important. It is so important. Yeah. And the thing is, we work shift work, right? We don't have a regular schedule. So to schedule in something that you always do on the Tuesday at 8 p.m. is impossible.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are just not doable. Mm. And that has a big impact on our lives. Yeah. And I am just really realizing that in the last couple of months, and trying to find a way to balance that out. And yeah.
To ask the previous question a bit differently, what does work, or how does work fit into your life in general? Like, what role does it play? Or how do you see it?
For a very long time, it was everything.
Yeah.
And that's just changing. Just now. Like, yeah. Yeah, I guess.
What's it changing into?
I probably don't know yet. But it's changing into something to appreciate everything else more. Gratitude.
Yeah.
For all the other things. Make time for the other things. And not only make time for work. Like, I'm the first one who's taking up a shift if they need someone. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that learned to never give up, right? Yeah. So I will think things through. I will study things through, and not make time for what really is important. And yeah.
What's brought about the change, do you think?
Part of it was the pandemic and the loneliness of people in and outside of work or at work.
Yeah.
That I've seen. A lot of healthcare workers getting to a breaking point during this pandemic because of the workload, of the emotional load, of not being able to go and see their parents in a nursing home, or like a lot of different things that came with this pandemic, but put an extreme load on us. And I've seen a lot of healthcare workers break down during that time. Yeah, and it makes you think.
Yeah. How do you think working in ICU itself, like pandemic included, has affected, like along the lines of what you said, your outlook on life itself, when you're seeing people close to the end of life and families and all that sort of thing? Do you think that's changed your perspective on life?
Can you rephrase that?
So, working in ICU, in all aspects, so part of it's the patient interaction, but like you said, working through pandemic, seeing your colleagues and what they're going through, clearly it's, already had some impact into how you're looking at balancing out work and life. Do you think it's affected how you look at life philosophically and what to make of it and what things are important because of work?
I don't know if working in ICU.
Just to give an example, I guess, like for me, like I said earlier, looking at death doing palliative care changed my perspective on death in a big aspect. And I think like the way I looked at it in ICU was quite different, and doing palliative care completely changed that to make me look at life as well in a different perspective. Just wondering whether you've had any experiences or moments like that.
Well, obviously, being confronted with death in ICU so often makes you kind of question how you want to die or how far you would want to go with a treatment. Because modern medicine can do a lot of things, but do all the things make sense? I think yes, to a certain extent it has. I have probably always been very, interested in end of life. So even during med school and my years before I started working in ICU, it was something that I had an interest for, and yeah. So I think it changes you. The whole setting changes you and changes how you see life and death. But I couldn't name like a specific experience or series of events that changed something.
Yeah.
It started before I started working in ICU. Yeah.
Well, wrapping it up, getting to the end of things. Thank you so much for talking to me for this long.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
What's life got in store for you in the near, mid, and long-term future?
I want to know too. So I will stay in Australia for another year. And then the plan is to go back.
You started picking up the accent a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you said year like an Aussie.
Oh, it must be a coincidence. I'm planning on going back home after that to then work as a consultant in an ICU in Switzerland. And hopefully on the way there, I will find my niche. I think that's something that, professionally speaking, really is something that I want to start building. Yeah, and go from there.
You just told me, that work isn't life alone anymore. You haven't told me anything outside of work.
Well, continue to be curious, to travel the world and create that quality time for friends and family. That is something that is part, or will hopefully will be part of my life. And the good thing is there is no goal to work towards but it's more to the awareness and be in the moment kind of thing. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, as long as I can have a place to crash if I visit Switzerland and a tour guide.
Absolutely. Please come and visit me.
You've already told me that I won't have a job there, but...
Well, we'll find you a job in research.
Do I have to publish the articles in German or French?
No.
Okay.
No. That's all in English. Should be all right.
Perfect. Excellent. Sorted. Thank you. Thanks for having a chat.
Thank you.
It's been educational and interesting.
It was really nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's get dinner.
Woohoo!